Hello, my name's Douglas Laubacher, and I'm here today to talk to you about drawing more effective facial expressions for your characters. Specifically, we're going to be taking a look at eyes and mouths for your characters and some strategies for some things you can do to draw eyes and mouths a little bit more effectively and kind of communicate different emotions to the viewer, the person who's maybe taking a look at these characters a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start by drawing a few different styles of eyes and mouths. It doesn't exactly matter what style we're working in. What I'm going to try to talk to you about today is going to be stuff that should apply to just about any different kind of style of drawing that you're working in. Make sure you've got a sketchbook or some paper with you, your preferred drawing medium, and let's get started. So the first two expressions we're going to work on today is we're going to work on happy and we're going to work on sad. Pretty simple. I assume you guys know what happy and sad are. So we're going to start with some really basic looking eyes here. I'm going to draw two sets of eyes. Okay, this one will be happy and this one will be sad. Coloring these eyes. Darkening these eyes a little bit. And this one will be sad. So these are really simple representations of happy and sad, and this is probably what you think of when you think of happy and sad, but I don't think they're quite as expressive as they could be. So here's some things for you to think about when you're drawing expressions like this. The first thing to think about is, what is the character thinking? You want to think about, like, this character is shown as being happy, but like, why are they happy? Are they going to read a book they like? Are they about to eat like their favorite food? What kind of happy is it? People get happy in different ways. And people get happy for completely different reasons. Same with being sad. Why is this character sad? So when you're drawing a character that's going to be expressive, you almost want to think the way an actor is thinking. You want to think about what the character is thinking. You almost want to try to make yourself become that character in a way. You want to think about their personality and think about the different reasons someone in this case would be happy or sad. The next thing I want you to think about is, when we're drawing faces and when we're thinking about the different parts of the face, we divide the different parts of the face up. We think about the eyes as one part of the face, and we think about the mouth as another part of the face. But the eyes and the mouth and everything in between, they all interact. And a lot of times when a character is happy, you can see it in their eyes. And when a character is sad, you can see it in their eyes. So don't just think that being happy is a smile and being sad is a frown. Let me show you what I mean. So if I want to convey the idea of happy, and I want to show that this character's face is really happy, I can show it in their eyes. And the way I can do that is I can show how this smile on this character's mouth affects this character's eyes. So a really simple way to see this in cartooning is to look at classic animation. But a character's cheeks might smile like this, and they might have some smile lines come up here, and real subtly, it just real subtly kind of overlaps the very bottom of their eyes. So this character has almost like these rosy, smiley cheeks when they're happy. Another thing to think about is eyebrows. Where are the character's eyebrows when the character is happy? And in this case, maybe this character is like being, I'm thinking of different scenarios in my head. And in this case, I'm going to pretend that this character is being given a gift and they're surprised and happy to receive this gift. So I'm going to make this character's eyebrows kind of perky and up here. show that this character is happily surprised to receive whatever gift they're receiving. In the case of being sad, something very important happens when you're really sad. You cry. So how are we going to draw that exactly? Well, for a character like this, maybe one of the things we can do is we want to think about how sad the character is. Maybe they're just a little bit sad. Maybe this character, maybe this is like telling a story. Maybe this character received a gift and they're really surprised and happy to receive this gift. And maybe the gift broke eventually down the line at some point in our little story. So maybe the character is sad that this gift they were given is no more. So maybe we'll draw kind of like little tears, little shapes here that kind of represent moisture in the eyes like this. And maybe we'll draw a little teardrop, not like a ton of tears, but just a little bit here. And we'll draw eyebrows that are kind of curved in like this to kind of show worry. So there's like some worry in this sad, kind of like how when we were drawing happy over here, I was kind of thinking about how maybe there would be a little bit of surprise in this happiness. Over here, I'm thinking about maybe there's some worry in this sad that this character is expressing. So here I've drawn a couple different heads. This is from one of my characters. This is from my character Leaf. Leaf is a bird. He's a blue jay. And I'm going to show you how I would draw that expression on this character. So we're going to take the idea of those faces that I just drew and we're going to apply them to my character here. And what I want you to do is I want you to draw a character of your own that maybe you have, or a character that you like. Take some time out and do that. And then we're going to add those expressions that we just drew to those blank character faces. So first off, we're going to draw happy on this character over here. So I'm thinking about what I was thinking about before. Maybe this character is receiving a gift and maybe they're kind of happy about it, but they're also surprised. So I'm going to darken up these lines a little bit so that you can see them better. So I'm going to draw this character's eyes, and I'm imagining that this character, even though you're not going to see it in this drawing, I'm imagining that this character is kind of looking at that gift. I'm going to draw a little mouth here. Leaf has a beak because birds have beaks, but in the case of Leaf and the other birds that I draw, his beak kind of acts like a nose and not really like a beak that opens up. So I draw Leaf's mouth down here and he's really happy. So maybe I'll draw a cheek over here and you can't really see the other cheek because the beak is in the way. Draw his eyebrows up like this, like he's really excited. So that's how I would draw a more emotive, more expressive happy on this character. Next, we're going to tackle sad, drawing sad on this character. And just like before, we're going to think about what we were thinking about before. We're going to think about the different parts to kind of being sad and like what this character would be thinking exactly. So we were kind of imagining that this character had maybe like gotten a gift and they were like happy and surprised about it. And they're kind of like sad and worried that it broke, but mostly sad. So I'm going to darken in this character's eyes a little bit so that you can see them a little bit more. I'm going to add the pupils here. I'm going to add kind of like a teardrop kind of building up on the edge of his eye here, and you can't really see it over here because the beak is covering it up at this angle. And then maybe like a little teardrop. And then kind of these eyebrows kind of curved in to show worry. And then instead of just drawing a mouth that's kind of just like an upside down curve, I made the curve kind of wiggly. Makes it seem more nervous. Add a little line underneath the mouth that kind of acts like a shadow for underneath the lip. Kind of makes the mouth pop out a little bit more, makes it a little bit more prominent in the picture. And then I'll darken some of this up so that you guys can see it a little bit better. And usually at this stage in a drawing, what I would do is I would go in with a kneaded eraser or some kind of eraser and clean up the lines and kind of make it a little bit more finished or polished, a little bit cleaner. I'm working in marker. I can't erase marker. So I was drawing this in a blue marker. I'm gonna go over it with a black marker for you guys and kind of darken it in and maybe make it look a little bit cleaner. So for the last part of this video, we're gonna draw one more expression and we're gonna work on angry. And we're just gonna work directly on a new blank head shape. So I'm gonna draw another leaf head up here. I would encourage you to draw another kind of blank template head for whatever character that you're working on at home. And then we're gonna make that character look angry. So one of the things we kind of talked about with expressions, we touched on it a little bit, was the fact that expressions can be a little bit complicated sometimes. It's not always black and white. It's not always that a character is happy or not happy, or sad or not sad. It's not like an off and on kind of thing. There can also be other emotions mixed in there. When I was drawing this happy, I was also thinking about being surprised. And when I was drawing this sad, I was also thinking about like worry a little bit. And I wanted to kind of convey those in the character somehow. So one of the things I want you to think about when you're drawing angry is I want you to think about how angry, what degree of angry is this character. I think everybody has been a little bit angry at some point in their life, and then you probably remember being a lot angry. So I want you to think about how angry this character is going to be. And in this case, I think it would be really fun to draw a character that is like really angry. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna draw your character. And this time when you're going to draw your character, you're not going to draw any eyes on it for now. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. So we didn't draw the eyes, and we didn't draw the eyes on this character because one of the things that we were doing on these characters is the eyes were really static. They were stuck in the same place. And your eyes, your eyeballs, in your eyeball sockets in your head do stay in the same place, but the skin around them moves around a lot, and that gives you all of those really expressive qualities. It makes someone seem a little bit more animated sometimes. So we're gonna make this character feel a little bit more lifelike and a little bit more animated when we're drawing them angry. So we're gonna take this character and we're gonna draw the eyes a little bit bigger than when we were drawing them on these other characters. And when I'm drawing the eyes, I'm thinking about them stretching, and I'm thinking about balance. I'm thinking about this eye being the same size as this eye. I don't want this eye to be a little bit smaller, and I don't want this eye to be like way bigger. I want them to feel like they're about the same size, and I want them to be balanced. If this is my center line in the middle, I want the same amount of distance from this eye to the middle and from this eye to the middle. So we've drawn much bigger eyes on this character than we did on the other characters. And the reason for that is because I want this character to look like an unreasonable comical amount of angry. So maybe we'll draw the pupils a little bit smaller. and that'll actually make the eyes seem even bigger. That'll kind of give it a little bit more contrast. And then when you're angry, your eyebrows kind of furrow. So we'll draw the eyebrows down like this. And sometimes there's like a little lump in the middle of your eyes when you get really angry. So we'll draw that there. And sometimes when you're really angry, you'll grit your teeth. So maybe we'll draw this guy with grit teeth here. So far this character is looking really angry, but there's a few other little extra things that we can add on top of this to make it seem a little bit more cartoony or a little bit more comical. You may or may not want to use these ideas depending on what kind of style of character that you're drawing in, but I'm going to show them to you, and I would encourage you to draw them at home just as an exercise, even if you wouldn't normally draw this way, just as a way to kind of like loosen up and experiment a little bit. So the first thing we're going to add to this character is sometimes when you're really angry, your face turns red. We're not really working in color for these here, but part of your face turning red is all of the blood rushes to your face when you're really angry. So I'm going to add veins to this character's eyes, like they're bloodshot. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add maybe like kind of like a little symbol next to him that could be like smoke or something like that. Like he's like fuming. Sometimes you say when you're really angry, you say like someone was fuming. So I've gone ahead and added those things there. And so finally, for the last part, just like on these other characters, I'm going to go in with a black marker and kind of pick the lines that I want to keep and clean it up a little bit to make it a little bit more cleaner. If you're working with a pencil at home, this would be a good time to maybe take an eraser and kind of get rid of any extra guidelines or make any little corrections on the drawing that you're working on. So there, you should have a finished angry expression. Finally, you want to think about, when you're done with your angry expression, you want to think about the different things that we talked about. Kind of take some time and reflect on it. We talked about how when you're drawing an expression, even though we think about like eyes and mouths and things as separate parts of a face, we want to think about how they work together and kind of connect. So when I was drawing happy up here, I made the character smile, but I also drew little like cheek lines or smile lines real subtly around the bottom of the character's eyes. Over here, I made the character sad and kind of added tears to the eyes, didn't just draw a frown. Kind of added tears to the eyes to make the eyes look sad as well. Down here, I think if I were to change anything or add anything to it, maybe I would add like cheek lines right around the mouth here in the eye to kind of show that like this character's really gritting his teeth, like he's really upset, and these like parts aren't just separate parts of a face, they're part of one face, and they're kind of like interacting and affecting each other. You also want to be still thinking about what the character is thinking. So I was kind of thinking about if this was telling a story, like maybe the character was given something as a gift and they were happy about it and then it broke. Maybe it turned out maybe someone else broke the gift that the character had. Now this character is like really angry about it or something. So you want to think about these different expressions and these different scenarios that a character would go through, much like the way an actor would think about these things. And so that's it. Those are your drawing tips for drawing more effective cartoon emotions on your cartoon characters. I hope you'll think about some of the things that we talked about here today when you go off and kind of draw on your own. Thank you guys. Stay well. Have a good afternoon.